We are the Imperial Guard. It is time we started acting like it.
In the expanse of the Imperium, we hold steadfast to our beliefs, our dogmas, and our understanding of the galaxy. Among our many adversaries, the Necrons stand as enigmatic and formidable foes, yet our perception of them remains shrouded in misconception. The Imperium has long regarded the Necrons as unthinking machines, devoid of consciousness or individuality. We have painted them with a broad brush, branding them as soulless automations, driven solely by a desire for galactic domination. But the truth, as I have come to know, is far more complex and profound. Hidden within the depths of their tomb worlds lies a rich civilization, as diverse as the myriad worlds of humanity. They possess a collective memory that spans eons, their minds infused with the remnants of a bygone era. One type among them strikes more fear into a guardsman than a whole legion of Necrons, the Destroyer. From silent, dust-choked tombs, an empire that predates all living memory stirs to reclaim its ancient birthright. This is a narrative of restoration of a people seeking to reverse the calamitous bargain that cost them their souls 60 million years prior. Yet within this story, a darker note sounds, a schism born of utter despair. It is the horrifying self-mutilating nihilism of the Destroyer cults, a movement or corruption that seeks not to rebuild an empire but to extinguish the concept of life from the cosmos. This is not a divergent strategy but a spiritual sickness, a rebellion against the premise of the Necron future. To understand this madness, one must look back to the original sin of their creation, the biotransference. In exchange for their immortality, the Necrontyrs surrendered their flesh and, as the Silent King realised too late, their souls. What remained was a hollowness of spirit, an eternal aching void. For the nobility, this void could be papered over with a grand ceremony of the courts and in a strategic pursuit of galactic reconquest. For the common soldiery, the emptiness was absolute. While the slow decay of millennia has afflicted many Necrons, the Destroyer cult represents a unique pathology. It is a conscious ideological rejection of the central hope that sustains their race. To the Destroyer, this is a fool's hope. They have stared into the soulless void of their own existence for uncounted ages, and concluded that it is not a state to be cured, but a truth to be inflicted, making the silent, dead universe a reflection of their inner state. Before their metal unliving, the Necrontyr were very much a living species, suspicious and superstitious. In their forgotten past, they were not always the cold beings we see today. With desires and fears that mirrored our own, among them were those with the blackest of hearts, the Red Marshals. When their poisonous sun flared, they would send out these grim figures to conduct rites, legend tales of endless sacrifices, where astromantic conclaves would observe the stars flaring and the pharaohs would declare a harvest. The common folk would draw lots and the unfortunate few would be left crippled in the desert. The executioners or marshals became known as the Red Marshals, their clothes stained with the blood of their duties. Their final harvest coincided with the end days of the biotransference. The ruling Triarch proclaimed a new great harvest, and these marshals walked the slums of Necron tomb cities seeking out those too scared or too sick to endure the transformation, dragging them into the biofurnaces. Those who resisted had their bones broken, their screams drowned by the clanging of metal, as they were cast in to become mindless Necron warriors. This history suggests that the Destroyer cult may not be a new madness, but the reawakening of an ancient, brutal function. Some cryptexts posit a simple psychological trauma, a complete mental collapse under the intolerable weight of eternal, senseless existence. A more pervasive theory, however, points to the lingering influence of the Catan. It is whispered that the curse was a final parting gift of Azagorod, the Nightbringer, a sliver of its own death obsession embedded deep within the Necron psyche as vengeance for its shattering. In this view, the Destroyers are not merely mad, but spiritually tainted. Whatever its origin, the madness spreads like a contagion, an engrammatic virus passed through proximity or whispered heresies. Historians have hypothesized that the Destroyer cults themselves are ranged from all manner of Necron beings, from commoner to the elite Lich Guard. So feared is its touch that its adherents are made pariahs, banished to the periphery of their tomb worlds, yet their presence on nearly every world, a cancer in every dynasty, speaks to the universal nature of the despair from which they spring. The philosophy of the Destroyer cult is written upon their own bodies, where the Necron nobility reveres their living metal form as the last secret link to their past. The Destroyer sees only an inefficient vessel for murder. Their creed demands constant radical self-modification, with no attachment to their past forms. Many have removed their self-repair arrays to the whims of instinct. When damage is sustained, their necrodermis takes no care to restore their original bodies. Instead, it warps itself into something more abstract and grotesque. Its only purpose to drive more strength, more power. Legs, a sentimental echo of a bipedal past, are ruthlessly excised and replaced with a swift, hovering repulsor. Arms are fused directly to the workings of gauze cannons and annihilators. This physical transformation is the outward sign of their spiritual schism, the final act of severing themselves from what they once were. These warriors have forsaken their former selves to become relentless bringers of doom. This fanaticism has produced a diverse and terrifying array of specialists. At the forefront are the mighty Locust Destroyers, towering skeletal figures who have forsaken their physical forms in their relentless pursuit of destruction. Armed with devastating gauze cannons, they strike fear into the hearts of lighter infantry and even pose a threat to light vehicles. Their anti-grav technology grants them remarkable mobility, allowing them to redeploy and resume their assault within seconds. Among their ranks, the Locust Heavy Destroyers emerge as larger, more powerful constructs, wielding immense energy cannons capable of disintegrating enemy armour. In their wake come the Scorpek Destroyers, a vision of mechanical lunacy on lurching tripod legs, carving through enemy ranks in pirouetting charge of hyperphase blades. From beneath the earth itself erupt the Ophidian Destroyers, ambush predators whose serpentine bodies tunnel through solid rock to burst forth in a whirlwind of claws and blades. In the darker corners of the cult there exists a chilling embodiment of bloodlust, the Hexmark Destroyers. These warriors materialise on the battlefield from their dimensional oubliettes, their corrupted engrams granting them an ability to sense and target their prey with precision. Armed with disintegrator pistols, the Hexmarks unleash a relentless hail of firepower, reducing enemies to naught but dust. Presiding over this pageant of death, a dread figure emerges, the Locust Lord. These once mighty Necron lords have succumbed to nihilistic hatred, their calculating nature and maniacal disposition making them the most chilling among their kind. Their physical might rivals even the most powerful overlords, and their improved self-repair mechanisms instill dread to witness. In the rigid honour-bound warfare of the Necron dynasties, the Destroyer cults are a blunt, often uncontrollable instrument. Reviled as they are, their sheer effectiveness makes them a necessary evil. Their utter lack of self-preservation and their singular obsession with killing make them the perfect shock troops. Their combat doctrine is brutally simple: a devastatingly long-range fusillade to shatter enemy formations, followed by a relentless advance to methodically exterminate any survivors. Their thoroughness is absolute. A planet targeted by the cult will be scarred of all life. From its most complex creatures down to the last microbe, they will boil the oceans, burn the atmosphere and poison the soil, a process that can take decades, but will never be abandoned until the world is as sterile and silent as their own souls. This monomania makes them almost impossible to command. They operate with a habitual insubordination, frequently ignoring the wider strategic objectives of a campaign in favour of immediate slaughter. A canny overlord therefore does not attempt to enforce a battle plan upon them, but rather build a strategy around their inevitable destructive rampage. They are a force of nature to be unleashed, not an army to be directed. It is a dangerous gambit, for the Destroyers might just easily ignore a primary threat to chase down a fleeing band of insignificant infantry, their logic of murder overriding all other tactical considerations. They are not conquerors who seek to build, nor rulers who desire dominion. They are agents of pure entropy, the ultimate expression of a promise of immortality that became a curse. Their crusade is not one of glory, but of oblivion. This gives rise to the final unsettling question that must haunt the reawakening dynasties. When the Destroyers have finally succeeded, when the last living thing in the galaxy has been scoured from existence, upon whom will they turn their blades next? Perhaps they will turn them upon their fellow Necrons, seeing them in a flawed echo of the life they despise. Or perhaps, in their ultimate madness, they will turn their weapons upon the fabric of reality, seeking to unmake the stars that once tormented their mortal ancestors, and bring about the true and final silence.